Honorable guests, distinguished delegates. The United Nations was founded on the idea that nations can settle disputes without resorting to war. However, this principle is getting more and more at risk under today's circumstances. So this delegate stands here today to call for action for rebuilding collective security in response to current crisis. Okay, I can see lots of confused faces in the audience right now, including my mom over there. You might find the language I'm using right now sounds distant, excessively diplomatic, and doesn't match the vibe of TEDx Youth at all, right? And not to mention my topic, leave no one behind. Who would name their speech like that? So here, I'll start over. I'm a high school student, and also a Model UN delegate. The name says it all. Model United Nations is a conference that follows procedure of United Nations. Each student represents a different country and can freely share the country's stances under certain topics. I mean, sounds fun, right? Kids role-playing diplomats. That's what I thought when I first entered my committee room. But I ended up stuttering over obscure terms I don't understand, getting harshly criticized by my chair because I've barely done any research on my topic. In other words, I haven't done my homework. So I was standing in the middle of the committee room, wondering why we all have to act like this, using language that we felt detached from reality, debating over and over on tiny details on our resolutions. And why do we even have to vote when it's just a simulation? So the other day, I was scrolling down my phone, a news page, and I saw a donation button next to some photos. It was a UNICEF advert with 3 bold words: save these children. They were around my sister's age. But instead of staying in school, they were sitting by the street with chapped faces and wounded bodies. Behind them was a bomb site. I never imagined such a brutal image before. I was aware people were suffering, but I lacked the motive to act. That might be the moment I realized my voice may matters. Our voice together may matters. Dialogue isn't just a dream. It's a value worth reminding ourselves of, because itself is a crucial step towards lasting peace. As a delegate, Model UN has provided me a place to establish countless of dialogues, resolution paper, aimed to make this world a better place. And there's actually one thing you can't leave out when talking about Model UN, the United Nations. The UN was formally established in 1949 in a post-World War II era, while its predecessor, the League of Nations, was established in 1919 but failed during the war. In other words, the UN was born under a strong desire for peace. In the 20th century, it has passed more than 1,300 resolutions from 1949 to 2000 on decolonization, security, and disarmament. And one crucial difference, as I recently learned from history class, between the UN and the League of Nations was that UN actually take actions by sending peacekeepers and troops into conflict zones to prevent the outbreak of war. In United Nations, countries may struggle to compromise, but we fundamentally reject war as a tool to solve problems. Our tool is dialogue, because we know the alternative is far worse. Ironically, we kind of witnessed lots of that alternative in 2025. About 40 countries were at war in 2024, and the number only increased in 2025. So what's going on? What's wrong? Where are all the resolutions, all the peace I just advertised to you guys? In this year, you witnessed moments where dialogue was most needed, but most absent. And here's the awkward part. I finished around 80% of my speech back in February. That's the time when I still felt hopeful about 2026 and about the UN. And guess what? Less than a month later, another war broke out. That just proves again that we're giving up on the very thing we need most right now. If you follow the news, you might notice a pattern in these conflicts. The collapse of diplomacy right in the middle of peace conferences. The UN once provided us a safe and idealistic space, but now it seems to have cracked. One side threatened to strike soon and did in less than 3 weeks later. So now we must question ourselves. Can UN still foster international dialogue? The answer actually depends on us, on how we want it to be. Just imagine this in our head. If nations are willing to sit down again, like model UN delegates, raise their placards, debate in sessions, walk out of their committee room united by the refusal to go to war, could that make a difference? I've seen delegates debate fiercely in sessions. Some even cry out during votes, but we fundamentally reject to give up on our belief. Yes, we know Model UN is just a simulation. And the resolution that we propose today might take years or even decades to become reality. But however, we must keep reminding ourselves of the basic principle that nations can settle disputes without resorting to war. Every Model UN delegate walk into their committee room with that belief held in their heart. And if students can do that, then so can diplomats. Just a few weeks ago, I attended another Model UN conference. I walk into the room, onto the stage, seeing hundreds of people believe in what I believe. That experience should remind me yet again, if more people share this belief, we actually can make this world a better place. Thank you.